Hello everybody, my name is Jeremy Little and welcome to this Telstra live event, live from Studio T at Telstra. And today we're going to be talking about using the NBN to boost your business, and we're joined by three fantastic guests. I will introduce them to you in a second. Now, there's our topic, there's our hashtag. You'll see some social in a minute. We want to see you on social, we want to see you engaged. You're on a virtual platform, which means you can talk to us and ask us questions. So you can move the window around, you can make it bigger or smaller, do whatever you want with us, you can make our faces tiny. And get in there, there's speaker bios, there's information about us. These are our speakers, Michael, Rob and Colin. I will introduce them properly in a second, or allow them to introduce themselves. This is where we're coming to you from, here at the Studio T. And here are our hashtags. So you've got Telstra Virtual Events and the two tags there for Telstra to talk to us on social. So please get interactive in any way you would like to. Now, we have our first polling question. It's up on your screen right now. We really want to hear from you, both here with your answers and also send us questions so that I can ask our guests. Now, so the guests can introduce themselves. We have Rob here from the NBN. Rob, please tell us a little bit about yourself and welcome.
Great, thanks very much, Jeremy. So, and hello everybody on the call. I'm heading up the group within NBN that looks after all of our service providers. So I manage all of the relationships and all of the interaction with our service providers that provide internet and voice services out to business and homes. And of course, Telstra is one of those, one of the big ones. And we're working very closely with Telstra to be able to help businesses and homes get the NBN on as soon as possible.
Fantastic. So welcome, Rob. Thanks for coming. I'm sure everyone's looking forward to hearing from you. And we are also joined by Colin down in Melbourne. Colin from Telstra, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Jeremy, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Colin Neal, and I am the NBN business, or I run the NBN business go-to-market team in Telstra. And it's my job to make sure we have all the right elements in place to help our customers connect to the NBN and make the most out of what the NBN core network has to offer them.
Fantastic, thanks Colin. And last but not least, Michael from Internetrics also joining us from down in Melbourne. Michael, please welcome and tell us a little about yourself, please.
Hi everyone, thank you Jeremy. I'm Michael David, I'm Director of Online Performance for Internetrics. We're a Telstra NBN customer. We're a Wollongong-based firm who delivers digital solutions to our customers through our three divisions: online performance, digital consulting and website projects.
Fantastic. All right, now let's have a look at the results from the poll. Interesting, even split. So what the concerns that people have about the NBN, pretty even between time involved, loss of existing connections, and don't know enough. 47.4% of people don't know enough about the NBN. Well, that's why we're here. So that's a pretty good result. Okay, so let's run into Rob now to tell us a little bit about the NBN network for business. So Rob, please take it away.
Great, thanks Jeremy. Yes, so just sort of from the top, I wanted to explain a little bit about the NBN, where we're up to, and then also a little bit about getting connected to the NBN. So just to start off, we're well into the rollout now, and overall we've got about 2.5 million premises currently in construction and about 1.5 million already ready for service. So of the 10 or so million in Australia, we're sort of 15–20% through. But we do have quite a ramp up over the next couple of years. If I step into kind of the reasons why you should connect to the NBN, whether as a consumer or whether as a business, within the business world, there's a lot of general reasons, and would say there's an ability to communicate and collaborate more effectively, in particular across offices. But then also specifically in a number of verticals, having better internet, having better connection to whether it be head offices or whether it be customers or suppliers, really can enable business that you might not know is there. So that could be in health or education, it could be in manufacturing, or it could be in internet businesses like Michael might explain later. So there are a number of the reasons behind it. In terms of how our product rollout is going, so we're, as well as rolling out the connection to the NBN, we're also rolling out a number of products that that customers can use. And actually, in terms of the how you get the NBN, I should probably start with that. You might have heard in the press and over the last couple of years that there have been a few different versions of the NBN. It started off under the Labor government pretty much as a fibre network, and it has evolved since then to take on a couple of new technologies. So what we're working hard to do is to give the same service to all of the business and consumers, but it can be just across different technologies. They include the new technologies of fibre to the node or fibre to the basement, as well as the hybrid fibre coax. So the idea is that you have the ability to get the same NBN service, but it really doesn't matter which technology or access technology that you use. Then if I just move on to where are we up to in terms of product capability. So this is where we enable different speeds and we also enable different services. And of particular interest, there are a couple that businesses might want to use, as well as a straight internet connection. There can be a use for providing multi-line phone technology into a business. So we've got a particular type of traffic class that we call it, which enables that multi-line phone service within your business. And then we also have a symmetrical service which provides the same amount of internet up and down speed to provide good quality broadband and also video conferencing and so forth. So all of those types of products are things that you should probably talk to your Telstra person about as to how relevant that is and how much you need that within your business.
So Michael's one of the first people down in Wollongong, I believe, that's got on it and made a really good go of it. Michael, we're going to hear from you more in depth later on, but maybe you could give us a really quick cap of what your experience has been with it so far.
Thank you. Yeah, so far it's been fantastic. We are a fully digital business. Everything we do, with the exception of face-to-face meetings, is done online. All of our products and services. So when the actual NBN program was announced, that was pretty exciting for us. And then when it was coming to Wollongong, it was something we felt we really needed to move on to. Just the areas it's helped us out, and I'm going to, as you said, I'll talk more about this shortly, but it's allowed us to increase efficiency through additional speed and stability. Collaborations, we've got offices in China and Australia, and the ability to work between the two offices virtually. There was just no ability to do that before digitally. It was phone calls or visits in person, which has opened up a lot of opportunities for us nationally as well as internationally, looking to be Asia-Pac suppliers, as well as it's also, we've just seen results so far from a business as well as success as a company perspective.
And I might go to you, Colin, really quickly. What are you seeing as far as the business adoption of NBN? Are you seeing a lot of people that have access to it getting into it, or what would you like to see for those that are listening? You know, we heard that 47% don't know enough about it, so what would you say to them?
Well, I'd say to them, just following what Michael said, that the benefits the NBN can bring, they're applicable to almost any business. One of the single biggest thing that the NBN brings is access to high quality broadband, and to a lot of customers that's a great improvement on what they can get today through current ADSL technologies. So any business can benefit from improved internet connectivity because it opens up so many more channels to market, so many more ways of how you can collaborate across your own organisation or with your suppliers, improve your efficiency. So it's really more than just about being able to browse the web.
I'm sure everyone's experienced slow internet at some point. Who wouldn't want it to be faster, right? So, Rob, is there anything more that you'd like to speak to on this one?
The only thing probably is sort of when you're working out about how to connect to the NBN and how to do it, there are quite a few options there of the different sorts of broadband products that you can make use of. So it is a matter of talking to your service provider, talk to your Telstra rep and understand what is it that is going to be able to make your business fly. So there's different speeds. There's also, as I said before, there's a symmetrical speed where you can get the same amount of broadband up and down link. And it's really a matter of what are your needs within your business and work out how it's going to improve it.
So I've got an interesting question from Alex in the audience. Alex, thanks for your question, and everyone else, send us more. So Alex asks, why should I move when I'm happy with what I've got now? You know, what's a key advantage of the NBN over existing services?
So I think, well, I'm not sure what you've got now, but certainly we do see a lot of cases where the reliability and the speed does enable things that you might not have seen before. If you've already got a reliable high-speed connection, then okay, maybe that's good enough. But generally businesses, when they enable greater speed and make sure that they have a really consistent, reliable performance, they do find extra elements of whether it be productivity, access to different markets, integration with suppliers, so that there's always things that can improve.
What about you, Michael? You moved off something that you already had. What was the one reason that you really wanted to move on to NBN?
Market leadership. For us, being in a digital business, market leadership, we'd be left behind competitors and other industries as well. As I said, we don't know what the future holds. You don't know what new technology is coming around the corner. It's applicable across many industry verticals. You even think about building industry, which you wouldn't expect to be as reliant as us, but having access to high quality files for blueprints and plans, safety apps, all these sort of things. Those are the keys. Innovation. NBN allows you to really be plugged in.
We've got another question from Alex. It's very active, asking beyond. Do we have an example? So I might go to you, Colin. Have you got any examples of existing businesses that have changed and what they gained from the change?
Well, I'd really just second what Michael has said, and to almost back to Alex's original question, if you all have a great internet connection yourself today, then that's fantastic, and that's from your point looking out into the market. But what the NBN delivers is a change to the whole market. So as you interact with other businesses and other suppliers, that's a real step up. Everyone comes up a level, and that's a real big improvement. And we've seen that across numbers of businesses where they're able to change the way they interact with their suppliers, they're able to change the way they interact with their customers, and it opens up new channels to market for them.
Very good. Okay, so let's come back to you, Rob. Tell us a little bit, what have we got next as it loads?
Yeah,
what's the next point for you?
This slide here is just a bit of a landscape of the different speeds and technologies available to homes and to businesses, and it just shows that what we're aiming to do, what we're in the progress of doing, is enabling all of those speeds on all of the different technologies. Already in the market today, we've got the fibre to the premise product, so we're a large way through the rollout of that. We've got a fixed wireless service that's available more in rural Australia. The fibre to the building and fibre to the node product is in market, and that's busily ramping up after launch in September of this year. And then next year, we also introduce the hybrid fibre coax product and also the long-term satellite. Long-term satellite's obviously for the very regional or remote parts of Australia. And the hybrid fibre coax is in those areas that currently have cable that they might have already purchased from Optus or Telstra, and that will be the access mechanism in those areas to supply NBN. So after we sort of finish up with next year, we'll have all of the technologies in market, and they'll be providing all of those different NBN speeds.
Fantastic.
Yeah. The next thing is just in terms of what happens before the NBN is available in your area, and then a time frame to get connected. So part of the whole change in Australia is that the NBN is replacing the copper network. And what that means is that 18 months after we introduce the NBN, the copper services will be disconnected. So there is a period before the clock starts, if you like, where we're preparing and building the network, and then we issue a ready for service notice 18 months after that, then the copper will be disconnected. So that's kind of the window that people should be looking at to get ready and get converted to the NBN.
Very good. Everyone always wants to ask questions, so we've got some more questions from the audience. This time from Boy. He's thanking us for the examples. Would like some more examples throughout the event. So I think that's maybe just a theme for us to think about when we're talking about this. Any real world examples? We've got Michael on the line, but anything else we can talk about?
Yeah, and one just as a starting point, I think in terms of provision of expertise, in particular, if you've got a small company where you can't have experts in every branch, then you might have a customer walking into a store, or you might have somebody that needs access to expertise that's only available somewhere else. Having a reliable broadband connection so that you can video conference is a way of collaborating and getting access to that expertise. So you can imagine that happening in a health environment where it could be a doctor providing consultation to somebody about a particular specialty. You could imagine it in a financial services where you have a complex product where maybe the local person can't explain it and you need access to the expert that might be in a town or even overseas. So having that instant-on video capability where you can get access to expertise can improve customer experience and maybe also reduce cost.
Okay. This is an interesting question, one that I think came up. What's the thinking behind where the NBN gets rolled out? So the people on the line, and thanks for all the questions, are asking, why some suburbs over the other? What's the thought process?
Yeah, look, I can't answer that exactly. It started 4 or 5 years ago. I've been with the NBN for the last couple of years. I'm sure there are a lot of reasons why it did start where it did. But then now that we're underway, we sort of have to make the most of the build that we've done and then work on work fronts, if you like, to build out from the existing locations to get them completed. Mm-hmm. So it's a case of going from where we are to finish the job. And also it's a case of we do need to make sure that we work within the funding envelope that we have as well. So to make sure that if there are choices, we do make sure that we drive take-up as soon as possible so that the NBN actually does generate a return and comes off the budget books for the government and actually becomes a business that survives in its own right.
And how many premises, we were talking about this earlier, but how many premises are coming online in the next 2 years?
Yeah, so look, the job to be done for NBN is to have 8 million homes and businesses connected by 2020. Currently, we've got 2.5 million in construction, so we've already started doing the work to construct for 2.5 million. There are already 1.5 million in place today, so either they have a service, an NBN service, or they could get one. And there are about 680,000 that actually do have an active service right here today.
Very good.
So they're the sort of spreads. So what that means is that we're kind of 15 or 20% through connecting everybody, every home and every business in Australia. And over the next couple of years, it's sort of going to double and double again. So the next 24 months is where the real heavy lifting is done.
Pretty rapid rollout from here on in. Okay, very good. So let's move on to the next piece, migration.
$80, 90 or 100 megabits per second.
Excellent. Michael, we might jump over to you. How far away from the exchange are you, and what are you seeing as the speed now that you've implemented?
at the top of the hill from us. So even when we were back on ADSL, we got a reasonable speed, but the impact and being that close is we were literally seeing 99.9+% and 49.9. When we rolled out, we were just getting full speed, top speed. And I know the question was earlier about if we're happy where I am, why should I change? Look, we had good speeds. You know, we've been successful for a number of years, so it wasn't hindering our business. But the difference now is the speeds we've got and the stability we've got and the reliability we've got has actually allowed our business to grow, even just turned on in April.
Colin, are you seeing that a lot with your other clients, that in they're either thinking about or once they have migrated, that they're actually growing their business off the back of the switch?
I can't comment on any specific business, Jeremy, but you're right that the benefits that Michael talks about can't be realised by every business. I think it's important to answer Alex's question. It's not that you're necessarily struggling as a business now. It's not. That doesn't necessarily need to be the case. It's about the fact that with the increased stability, with the improved speeds, it opens up so many more channels to market, so many more opportunities for individual businesses. That it's the opportunity is there for businesses to go out and grasp.
Very good. This is a good story. So we talked a little bit about migration. Anything else you want to cover there?
Not really, just to emphasise the fact that, do plan early and, make sure that it's done in conjunction with your service provider. I know that the Telstra folk are very keen on making sure that the products and the services are set up in the right way to really enable the NBN to fly when you get it.
Very good. Okay, so let's move on to the business focus.
Yeah, and look, that's just an evolution, if we like, as to how we're communicating with all of the homes and businesses. We've started off very much as a sort of consumer information. When we have the NBN available in an area, we'll send a letter in the mail to the consumers to say the NBN is here. And what we're just doing is we're evolving that to, if it is a business that we're sending the information to, just doing it in a business-friendly way. So some of the extra questions that you might have as a business, it could be that you have a security service running back to base from your shop or your store. There could be other things, other considerations. So there's a very slight change in terms of just the way that we communicate, the slight branding difference between business and consumer, and also some of the questions that we'd be making sure that we pose in those information DMs that we send out, just to get people informed.
So you mentioned security systems, which is interesting because that's another question from the audience. Andrew, thank you, Andrew, asks, I have a security system alarm connected via PSTN. What do we do when we move?
So it is a question of working out what is the best way to deal with that, and you should probably talk to your security company about that. Currently it probably runs across the copper phone line, and many of the security systems do work across the NBN as well, and the security company should really check those out. There would be other alternatives to look at as well, whether it be an IP-based system running across broadband, or maybe you want also to look at a backup on mobile. One of the things to check is just in the case of a power outage, just to make sure that all of the needs that you have to be able to keep continuity are managed during that time. Okay.
Very good. So consult the security companies. The bottom line on that one. Mohammed, this is going to be a question for you, Colin. What challenges is Telstra facing in order to install the NBN all over Australia?
Well, one of the good things is, well, the NBN is a progressive rollout, so in terms of the scale, it's very much, we can plan in with NBN and we know where we need to be in terms of having our resource on the ground to help our customers. And we also work very hard about ensuring that we work with our customers early, get them planning for that migration so they understand what they want to move across and do it all in a timed, orderly fashion well in advance. So against there's no real one stick-out challenge here. I think we're coping with that rollout very well. And if I can maybe step back to the previous question about alarms as well, I just want to point out that with Telstra we operate a plug-based facility. And it may not be a great option for your alarm that's kind of screwed onto the wall, for example. But we've got this access to all the different access types. You can come along and we can hook up services and we can test, make sure things work as well. So Telstra can very much help you with that regard.
Michael, did you have any security systems or anything like that to consider when you were making the switch?
Not so much security. Ours was just reliability and stability. End of the day, if our NBN cuts out, you've got 20 people sitting around twiddling their thumbs. There's not a great deal that we can do. A few people might have a few projects on their local machines, but generally speaking, we just needed to be stable. So I'm aware of NBN plus the ability to have SIM card for backup as well. So it's just, it's the reliability that's been a key for us. And I am aware that there are options to help make sure that you've got a continuous signal.
I've definitely heard quite a few of my friends that run businesses have had issues previously with copper services and reliability, particularly in big office blocks. So NBN's a solution for that?
Or potentially. I think the thing is that each business should just think about the particular need that they have, and the NBN provides a solution to that in many ways. The reliability certainly is going to be there. But I would stress also that from a continuity point of view, if there is a service that needs to run in the case of a blackout, people need to consider that situation as well.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to another question. So Christopher from the audience is asking, where does the responsibility lie on installation? So he's already a Telstra customer. Would any problems be for Telstra's response? So would the problems be Telstra's responsibility or NBN's responsibility is the question.
Yeah, so I might start off there and hand over to Colin. So really your relationship should be all with Telstra, and then Telstra and us will coordinate whatever needs to be done there in terms of fixing any particular problem. Our role is to roll out the network so that you have the capability of connecting the NBN to the business, and then Telstra will work with you to make sure that it's sort of sorted out to your needs.
Yep.
Colin, across to you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Rob. And Rob's quite right. Always come and speak to us in the first instance, and we will manage that relationship with NBN Co on behalf of our customers. And broadly speaking, depending on the access type, there will always be some work done on our behalf by NBN Co, and actually whether it's putting some equipment on your premises, whether it's fibre or even from fibre to the node, making some on fibre to the building, making some changes on site. There'll also be a separate visit in most cases from a Telstra technician as well. So while it's always managed by the RSP or Telstra in this instance, we would operate and work on behalf of yourself with NBN Co to align all those connection activities to get you hooked up on the NBN.
Very good. Okay, well, we're going to move into the rest of the content. Rob, any parting words before we move on?
I've covered most of it, but I think just plan early and have a discussion and get your plans in place. And I think even if you might not imagine today what the benefits might be, I think we've heard a few from Michael that undoubtedly there will be in the reliability and the speed that you get from NBN.
So we're going to go run into a polling question now with the audience, and the question is, what are your key drivers for moving to the NBN? Whilst we've got the audience answering that, we're about to go into your content, Michael. Michael, why don't you answer this question for the audience as well? When you were first thinking about it, you mentioned before market leadership, and that was one of the reasons. Was that the only reason, or why was that the main reason for you?
Well, being a wholly digital business, if we were to work off of old technology, to be the same as trying to run our business, like if we're building a website for a customer, building it off a standalone machine, storing it to a disk, sending it to the customer, and letting the customer do it their way. Whereas now what we can actually do is transform our business. We've been talking about paperless for a few years, and since the NBN's been connected, it's allowed us to actually start taking proper steps towards that. So that was something we didn't sit down and consider beforehand, was our ability to be a little bit more environmentally conscious and actually do work remotely. a lot of what we saw over the last few years until this year was we work with big files, whether it be design files or whether it be big data files for our analytics customers. That sort of data needed to be ported around manually through some thumb drives or CDs, or somebody would email it, and it would take, you'd basically gum up your email for an hour, however long it took to download it, if it even made it past the mail filters, or it'd be put up somewhere as, an overnight or a weekend FTP to get it up there and then back down again, whereas now things are happening a lot more quickly. Speed, reliability, just going back to the poll question, speed, reliability were the keys for us to be able to deliver our business, not just our products and services over the net, but the business side of things over the net as well.
Very good. I've got I think in our own experience as well in our business, I've noticed as more and more software moves into the cloud, that speed is becoming more and more important. And when you're constantly shifting data in and out of the cloud instead of in and out of servers sitting in your office, speed is, that would definitely be our driver, I think, for moving to NBN. So let's have a look at the answers from the audience. Speed and reliability, the two main points. Data allowance also up there as well. Interesting. So we're going to jump ahead now to Michael from Internetrics. So Michael, please tell us a little bit about Internetrics and your experience with the NBN, moving into what you're up to.
Yeah, thanks. So we've been around for about 15 years. We're based out of Wollongong, which is a regional centre just south of Sydney. We've been in our office, well, not our particular office, but we've been in Wollongong the whole time. And a number of years ago, we also opened up offices in Beijing and Xiamen to help deliver services to China. We saw the size of the Chinese market and the growth in it, and really saw it as an opportunity for the sort of services we deliver, especially around analytics and big data. Some of the largest businesses in Australia, their monthly numbers are similar to weekly numbers for Chinese companies, just purely on an economy of scale. We've got 3 divisions: online performance, which I head, website projects, and digital consulting. So basically, we look to aim to help customers understand where they are, where they want to be, how to get there, and then the website projects helps them do that. And online performance is the measurement side of things, make sure you're maximizing your ROI. We've got strong partnerships with Google and IBM, as well as Silverstripe, enterprise CMS software based out of New Zealand. With the online performance division, that's, for me, this is one of the biggest, this is why I'm sort of facing this, is we're seeing the biggest results and the biggest amount of help. Our goals are to deliver data-driven solutions to our customers to help them win online. And with the NBN, as we talked about, speed and reliability, size, all this sort of stuff, it allows us to actually work in big data, that buzzword going around these days, and deliver really solid solutions for our customers. One of the sort of key areas where we're moving to Telstra NBN, one of the key areas we've gotten help is around efficiency in what we've done. Now, I've sort of spoken to this a little bit earlier, but the things we didn't realize were sort of the keys, some of the keys which really, really helped out. Now, we've talked about emailing. One of the biggest ones I've sort of been spruiking since the beginning, since we switched on, and people are like, oh yeah, you've got the NBN, great, what do you think? And I'm like, man, it's transformational, like it's transformed our business. And one of the quick little ones that I didn't even realize is we're constantly putting together reports for our customers. And then once you throw in all the graphs, pages of data, appendices, they get pretty big, and you're actually delivering megabytes through email. And what used to happen is you'd type up the email, here's your report, thanks, we'll attach it, and then walk away while it uploaded, because our upload speeds were poor. Now it's happening faster than our old download. So that really, really sort of, we're saving minutes. I know it doesn't seem like much, but if you count up the number of emails you do in a day and you're actually saving a few minutes per email, it's one of those things which just accumulates. So cumulative benefit there. Remote connectivity. meetings with our guys, no matter where they are. We've got team members who fly over to China regularly. I potter around along the eastern seaboard. We sort of service from Brisbane down to Adelaide, and I potter around through that area, and it really allows me to work closely with the team. So I'm no longer just a satellite. It's actually, we're working as if we're still a cluster in the same office, whereas we've got hundreds or thousands of kilometers between us. I talked about the move to cloud-based as well. Another great one that's helped us out a lot as well is in cost savings. So we deliver a lot of training, both about websites as well as various analytics products. And being able to deliver that training online allows us to save in transportation. I no longer have to go to a destination. I can actually deliver rich media content to our customers and not have them sitting there waiting or watching it be pixelated while we're delivering that. Collaboration, I think we sort of flew through that. That's allowing us to really, there we go. So collaboration is the big one. I'll quickly fly through it because we already talked about it. But just the ability to work through remote files. As well as big data sets. Analytics that's the direction it's moving. Is large data, big data, which is all about velocity, volume, and variability. Those are your 3 V's. You can put in a few extras in there, but not having to pull down files, do the work on it, push it back up to the client. Being able to collaborate remotely on those files as well as team members. Is really helping us a great deal, as well as the last point, sort of another little surprise one. So Boyd, I think it was, asked earlier, where are other areas? So we keep finding these little surprises. Another little surprise is now, because everything is working through remote and in the cloud, just our local machines. When we're rebuilding now, we're no longer spending the money on storage, which, the cost of storage is dropping anyways, but it's allowing us to move to more effective, like solid state and things like that, and keep the cost down of local hardware, so that we can just focus on speed, quick little speedy machines with good connections to the internet, and actually being able to work that way. It's provided us with a lot of opportunities. The biggest being China. As I said, we've been in China for a number of years. But the reliable connection is now allowing us to work more closely with the teams in China. So we've actually seen a lot of improvement in our Chinese business and our Chinese opportunities since April, which, we knew it would impact, but we didn't realize it would be this quickly. Sort of a common, I think, a little anecdote is a few years ago, you heard the most common thing said across Skype is, "Can you hear me?" Getting that signal, getting it connected, keeping it connected for a length of time. Whereas now that's no longer the case. We fire it up, whether it be Skype, GoToMeeting, or any other sort of visual chat program. And it's a solid, stable connection. It's as if the person's in the room with you. Generally, the only times we have issues if it's at the other end. We never have issues from our end. So it's allowed us to be a lot more effective during our meetings. So now when we set a half an hour meeting, we're not wasting 10 to 15 minutes of that meeting, connecting, reconnecting, dropping out, coming back in. A 30-minute meeting is an effective meeting. So again, little time savings here and there. If you're doing 1, 2, 3 meetings a day, all of a sudden you're saving an hour. You start doing your math. 1/8 of the day is productive, though, whereas before it was not. Which has also led us to an improved relationship with our vendors. We've actually seen, we're getting more love because of our ability to deliver further and wider without needing to open offices. So our costs stay down, yet we're still able to expand our customer base and reach, which is, as a business, that's basically what you want. How can I grow without, having a massive increase of costs with that as well? So one of the key successes for us was actually the ease at which we were enabled by Telstra. The actual enablement itself, once we were ready to go, was pretty easy. Now, I think it's been mentioned a few times by both Colin and Rob, it's like with anything else. You do all the hard legwork in the background and it looks easy. Overnight successes for bands and whatnot when they've been playing pubs for 20 years. It was a similar situation for us. Telstra worked very closely with us, and they really helped us as the local small business team. Really helped us make sure that everything was in order. We had a bit of a spaghetti junction with our ISDN, PSDN cards, multiple lines in, multiple phone numbers in, direct dial in, couple different, ADSL programs. Over the years, we just sort of built up this little hodgepodge of communications. Telstra helped us make sense of that, and really made it an easy process moving to the NBN. And even since then, it wasn't a sort of set and forget. They've been helping us. We're still looking at finding the best way to unpack some of that and get a second NBN line in and moving to voice over IP. And they're still treating us, we're getting treated like corporate customers. You have to be a certain size to be a corporate customer, which we're not, and we're still getting that corporate experience. So that's why it's really key to work closely with your local supplier or your chosen supplier. And for us, Telstra's been fantastic. So back on topic, sort of the key is, as we said, we got switched on in April. Sort of tooting our own horn here. We won the Illawarra Business of the Year in October of this year as a result of our win in the Excellence in Export category. One of the keys was our COO from China dialed into the actual award interview, which was pretty neat. And it was a result of the work and the growth that we've had in China, which really has been a result of our ability to collaborate and work closely with the team over there, not just having to send guys and girls over regularly, but day to day being able to collaborate. So while we're growing the team there, we're actually being able to support and provide our experience and knowledge from over here as well, which has really allowed us to sort of grow the business as well as, get a bit of recognition from the local business community as well. And this is all, a major part of that has been our move to NBN. So long story short, these sort of things, we didn't switch on the NBN saying, hey, it's going to help us, we're going to explode in China, which is going to mean we're going to win local awards. But these sort of things are just the flow-on effects from being able to have a more effective and efficient business, and being able to rely on your technology, which is a key for us.
That's a pretty good story, Michael. Thank you so much. Colin, is that a common story? You switch on the NBN and people start winning awards?
I would hope so, Jeremy.
Hey, we had a couple of questions from the audience whilst we were listening then. First one was from Mark. Is there any issues at the moment getting installation times? Probably one for Colin.
So I might start, actually.
Yeah. Rob?
So in terms of getting the NBN access ready into somebody's home or business, NBN has a job to do there, and it does depend on the technology. Generally, we've got pretty good availability of appointments, so in the order of 1 to 2 weeks. From time to time, there's a lot of demand, and it sort of expands out but comes back pretty quickly. So we're really installing about the same number of premises that we get orders in, and we're pretty well balanced at the moment.
Okay.
But as I say, there can be some little hotspots that flare up for a time, but we really do have very close watch on those, and we sort them out quickly.
And does Telstra have a role in that, or is that mostly NBN?
Yeah, so mostly that's NBN that actually gets the access available into the premise. And then, as Colin said before, there can be a job to be done also just to make sure that it suits the equipment that the person might have within their business. So there could be a secondary person that needs to come out and just get it all connected.
What was your experience like, Michael, when you were first getting it installed?
Probably like most other businesses, we wanted it right away as soon as we found it was coming to the area, which isn't always the case. But it's not. Look, it sounds simple. You put a little panel on the wall, you run a few wires in. A little bit of cable comes up to the building, and then it obviously goes down the street and connects to everything else. It sounds pretty simple, but it is a bit complicated. But the key was, as I said, working closely with Telstra. They really wanted. I assume this is for every business. They really wanted us to succeed, everybody was flexible. If there needed to be drilling and things like that done, it was done around us, so that to make sure that it wasn't disruptive. Everybody was great. All the techies who came through, really helpful. If there were any hiccups, that was dealt with quickly. And they really did take time to think about, what we were trying to achieve. I felt like it was a collaborative process. As I said, we were a bit of a spaghetti junction. So I don't think we were one of the easier ones. We wouldn't have been one of the harder ones, but they definitely took time to listen to us and work with us to figure out what would be the best way to move forwards.
Colin, have you got anything to add to that on the installation?
Yeah, the only thing I would add, and I think we're both sort of almost mentioned there, is as Michael's mentioned, the collaborative approach to working with our customers to understand what we can help them with in terms of migration, what services they want to migrate, what new services can we offer them. The key to making that really successful is starting early, because as Michael suggested, it may not be the most complex of businesses, but even from his perspective, there was a lot of stuff to work through. So that one of the single biggest things you can do to help make that transition as easy as possible is starting early.
Okay, and we've got a question from Mohammed. Thank you, Mohammed, for your question. He asked, when will consumers start to see competitive rates for the NBN? I've got to say, I've looked at some of the rates and they seem pretty competitive when I looked at them. So, double-barrel question, what's happening with the rates, and is that going to be affected by data usage? Is that a question for NBN or Telstra?
Yeah, so just starting and maybe handing to Colin on that there is a set of rates published by the NBN that is available to all service providers, and there is a scale that you pay more for the higher speeds, and basically it's up to Telstra and all of the service providers to basically package up a service and provide it out to the business, and then it'll kind of depend on what comes with that as to what the price point is. And that's really a competitive market. So I might, at that, hand it across to you, Colin.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. I think the one thing is, as we all know ourselves as users of the internet, the services that each provider will ultimately offer are largely driven by the demands of the market. And as we all know, we're all using the internet more and more in our homes, whether it's Netflix or whether it's the new 4K TVs, and you've seen this happen in mobile as well. So it's not just a fixed thing. As a nation, as a world, as a globe, we are consuming more and more data, and the services and the offers that we put out there, whether it's business or consumer, Telstra or otherwise, the offers that we will present to the market, they're designed to win in the market. So as the market consumes more and more, we will follow suit.
I think there's maybe something else to sort of combine all of that together as well. It's an opportunity just to think about simplifying your networks and your needs as well. So Michael kind of hinted at it, that there was a build-up over time of different phone lines and different internet services. You might not need some of them. So it's a case where kind of doing that checklist, making sure that you know what you've got at the moment, working out what you need, and then making sure that you get the right package for your need going forward could actually save some cost that you spend today.
All right, let's go to another question from Amar. Thank you, Amar, for your question. He asks, with the move from full fibre to multi-technology, how is that going to impact NBN's future-proofing?
Yeah, look, it's a thing where, our job is to enable fast and reliable broadband services to the whole of Australia in the shortest time frame at the lowest cost. And so we're using the technologies that we have available today. There are new technologies that we're already starting to trial. So how can we continually develop the technologies that we use to look for higher speeds, to look for lower cost and a better service overall? So I'm sure that the technology advancement will continue. We have gone a long way to already implement the best of the existing technologies. And you've probably seen announcements recently that we are trialling and getting speeds well above 100 into the 500, the 1 gig in different technologies. So I'm sure that will continue. And it is just something that we've got to continue to work at. Technology marches forward, and we'll be working with that.
Very good. All right, we are on to our last poll. So everyone on the line, send us through some more questions. We've got time for a couple more before we wrap up. But right now we want to know now, hopefully the 47.4% that didn't know enough about the NBN or didn't know much are better informed. So tell us, when are you guys planning on moving to the NBN? So give you a couple of seconds to answer that quickly. And then we're going to go and look at the answers now as soon as possible. 61.5%, that's a pretty good result. As soon as possible, they're going to be moving to the NBN. Okay, so they're interesting results, and we're almost at the end now. So transition to a brilliant connected future. Colin, we've got some information here from you. Colin, take it away, please.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. I think what we've heard already this afternoon is there are some really clear themes developing around the benefits the NBN can bring to businesses, whether that's the greater efficiency it can provide or the improved collaboration or indeed the increased opportunity it can offer every business. But what I'd like to focus on is the need to really start approaching it from a perspective we need to prepare for that migration. And there are two key points really in that, and that's when we've touched on it before, but so the need to plan. And Michael's mentioned it himself in his slides, where you work collaboratively with us, and we sort of unpicked that spaghetti junction of his of all his ISDN lines, and we started that process nice and early to help him plan for the migration to NBN. And it's not just about, crucial for businesses, not just to think about what do they have today, I should replicate that. And that sort of links in a little bit with Rob's point just there, where you may get greater efficiencies in data use. So the new services that are on offer, it's not necessarily what you have today may not be a carbon copy tomorrow. So that whole planning process, what services do you have, what services do you want, start the conversations with us very early as well. So that's my next point I want to focus on. If the NBN is rolling out in regions, SAMs, and in the fibre footprint at least, there's an 18-month window for you to manage that migration across to NBN. So at the end of that 18-month window, there is, we want everyone to be ready and on with their orders progressing well, and actually ideally connected well before that. So that's my second key point. Come to us and speak to us early. The earlier the better. That means you start to realise the benefits that we've spoken about, whether that's the improved efficiency, collaboration, all those things. But it also helps you beat any rush, and it helps you take risk out of your business. And the other sort of main things I want, because I think everything we've covered quite well already, and if we do that, if you come and speak to us nice and early, start to plan for the future, that helps you take risk out of your business, and it helps you realise those benefits earlier.
Fantastic, Colin. Thank you very much. Well, we are almost at the end, so what I might do is ask our guests for one takeaway. So let's start with Rob. What's the one thing you'd like to leave everyone with today?
Yeah, I think the thing is that it's kind of now, which is the time. I'm really heartened by the poll, which says move as soon as possible. We're already at 1.5 million premises, and we're doubling and doubling. So over the next 24 months, it's highly likely that the NBN will be in your area. And we are covering, we're doing 10,000 new premises every week at the moment. Next year it'll be 20,000. The year after that it'll be 30 or 40,000. So the wave of conversion to the NBN is really happening right now. And I think you've heard very consistent story from Colin and myself in terms of planning early, go through a checklist, work out what you want to need, and then once you get onto the NBN, we're pretty sure you'll have a great experience being fast and reliable broadband.
Fantastic. All right, let's go to Michael. Michael, would you let us know your one key takeaway, please, for the audience?
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. To agree with Rob, the poll looks awesome. At the end of the day, we're a very smart country. We're a very innovative country. But the key is you just don't know what you don't know. You don't know where your industry going, where the whole industry is going. So making sure you stay at the forefront and are ready to meet whatever challenges come. And reap the benefits that you're just not aware of. We knew that Telstra's NBN would help us really help us from a few areas, but the little things, it's the little things, the time savers, the money savers, and the opportunities in our remote offices. Those were just just cream on top of the ice cream or the cake or whatever the cliches you want to use. So move fast and really think about what you can do with your business.
Cream on top of the ice cream sounds good. That sounds like some exorbitant ice cream. So, Colin, judging by those results, you're going to be a pretty busy man. So let us, what's your one key takeaway for the audience, please?
Yeah, and I prefer being busy, so that's fantastic for me. The one thing I'm mirroring basically what Michael says, if the key thing is start the preparation now, start to understand what your business is today, what you want to do tomorrow, engage with us as early as you can. Through doing that, not only do you help to beat the rush, because there's a defined time limit to do that migration, you beat that rush, you de-risk that element towards your business, and also it opens up all those benefits to you, whether it's the greater efficiency, the improved collaboration, all of those things. You can start to benefit that, you can start to get ahead of your competitors.
Fantastic. Well, I think we are going to wrap up. We're almost at the end of the hour. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave us with, Rob, from the NBN's perspective?
Look, I think we have covered it. Just keen to see what it can do for your business and encourage you to get going.
Fantastic. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining. My name's Jeremy Little. I've been the host for this Telstra virtual event. And we're going to put out a survey at the end now, so stick around and please answer the survey. We would really love to hear from you on what we've done and what we can do better. Thanks for joining us, and I hope to see you at another one. Thank you very much. Bye. Thanks, guys. Thanks to our guests as well, of course. Bye.